Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Living the Sweet Life. I'm your host, TJ Sweet, and on this podcast, we are committed to helping you get from where you are to where you want to be. And if you haven't decided where you want to be yet, it's time for you to own it, time for you to grow, time for you to pursue some things, whether it's in your personal life, your professional life, your relationships. Let's get after it, all right? We're not going to get anywhere on accident. We got to live with intention so that we can get there. And here's a couple other ways that we're going to do this. We're going to help you live with intention. We're going to help you reshape your mindset. And we're also going to help you look at the world through a grateful lens to unlock what's possible, to unlock this idea of an abundance mindset. But first, before we get there, go ahead and take a moment to hit that subscribe button. And to all of you that have already hit that subscribe button, I appreciate you all committing your Monday mornings, maybe Monday afternoons, maybe it's a Wednesday whenever you listen, but just committing to time in your week to learning and growing. Now, we release these on Mondays. We call them Mindset Mondays because as you win the day, you start to win the week. And as you build confidence throughout the beginning of the week, you feel more confident throughout the week. And then you'll be at your best for the people that need you the most. So this week, we're going to talk about something that we've talked about multiple times, but I'm going to talk about it in a different way. As you know, we're focusing on leadership and influence and culture. We're going to talk about growth mindset again. We're going to talk about how to cultivate it within your team, not just what it is, not just how it works, but how to actually cultivate this idea of a growth mindset. Now, this is something that's rooted in neuroscience. So trust me, all you people out there saying it's a soft skill, let's settle in. Let's get after it because I'm going to tell you a lot more things that aren't so soft and aren't so easy. These are the hard things that actually make the most difference. Let's dig in and start talking about cultivating a growth mindset in your team. Because what this is also a path to resilience and success. So in this ever-evolving business landscape and, one of the greatest assets an organization can have is a team with a growth mindset. I've been leading for over 20 years, and this is the one thing I can go back to. Rooted in the belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed. A growth mindset empowers teams to see challenges as opportunities, to learn and improve. When embraced fully, this mindset fosters resilience, fuels innovation, and leads to a more adaptable, forward-thinking team, business, and organization. As a leader, it's your role to set the tone for a growth-oriented culture, one that values effort, celebrates resilience, and really encourages risk-taking without fear of failure. Embrace failure. It's part of the process. So let's explore how to cultivate a growth mindset within your team and make it more of a culture and a cornerstone of your organization's culture. So first, we got to talk about why growth mindset matters in leadership and in your team. A growth mindset doesn't just lead to individual benefits. It creates this ripple effect across the entire team, the entire organization, the entire customer experience. When leaders model this approach, they signal to their teams that development and learning are essential priorities, not just outcomes. This builds a culture where team members actually feel encouraged to take on and tackle new challenges, continuously improving, and bring innovative ideas to the table. Creates a safe place to offer ideas. A team with a growth mindset is more resilient in the face of adversity and more willing to take calculated risks, and they're really more likely to see setbacks as stepping stones to success rather than barriers. By fostering this mindset, you can create a work environment where people are empowered to expand their capabilities and support each other in achieving their best, recognizing that we all have ways that we can learn and grow. All right, so let's talk about how we do this, right? Let me just share a couple strategies with you that I've been able to incorporate. So to really embed this growth mindset in your team's culture, leaders must lead by example and actively encourage behaviors that reinforce learning, perseverance, and adaptability. Now, you're probably thinking, that sounds great, but how do I do that? Well, let's talk about it. Here's a few strategies that I can share with you that I've used. Praise effort, not just the outcomes. Celebrating wins is essential, but focusing solely on results can inadvertently reinforce a fixed mindset. We'll talk a little bit about that, but instead of instead praise the process, the effort, the resilience, and determination your team puts into their work. For example, rather than simply recognizing a successful project being completed, acknowledge the dedication, the teamwork, and the problem-solving skills that led to their success. This shift in focus reinforces the idea that hard work and persistence will lead to improvement. Second thing we have to do is create a safe space for risk-taking and learning. Innovation often requires stepping outside of your comfort zone, and team members will only take risks if they feel psychologically safe. Encourage your team to experiment, even if that means that they might fail. Have them not fear failure so much. Communicate that mistakes are part of the growth process and that they offer valuable learning experiences. Now, obviously, we have to understand that when a mistake happens, we have to learn to frame it as an opportunity to learn. What went well? What could we do better next time? How can we improve? This approach really helps remove the fear of failure, and it opens the door to greater creativity and problem solving. And the next thing we have to do is encourage continuous learning and development. Now, growth doesn't happen by accident. Sometimes it feels like it does, but it doesn't. It requires ongoing commitment to learning, not just doing. Invest in resources and training and development opportunities that support your team's growth. Let them share with you how they want to grow, whether it's access to a course, a workshop, maybe it's a mentorship program. These investments will signal to your team that growth is a priority. It's not just allowed, it's encouraged. Additionally, make sure that learning is part of the team's daily rhythm by sharing articles with them, maybe good experiences, discussing new industry insights, or even setting time for knowledge sharing. Now, another really important thing we have to do is model a growth mindset as a leader. Your team will take the cues from you. When you show that you're open to learning, receptive to feedback, and willing to adapt, you encourage the team to behave in the same way. So share your stories of your own growth and experiences and highlighting challenges you faced and how they helped you learn. And talk about your mindset as often as possible. And, by demonstrating vulnerability and humility, you make it clear that growth is a lifelong journey. And your team will start to feel more comfortable pursuing their own paths to improvement. One of the biggest things that we have to do as a team and as a leader is shift the focus from being right to getting it right. In a fixed mindset culture, the goal often becomes protecting one's own competence and avoiding mistakes. We have to be ready for this. But in a growth mindset culture, the priority is achieving the best possible outcome. Encourage your team to look beyond the individual successes and consider what's best for the team or the organization. The shift from being right to getting it right removes the stigma around mistakes and redirects focus to continuous improvement. Now, another super important part of this growth mindset is celebrating progress, not perfection. Setting unrealistic standards for perfection can just stifle the growth. Instead, focus on celebrating progress, no matter how small. By acknowledging improvements over time, you reinforce that development is more important than immediate flawless outcomes, because we don't learn anything when things happen that fast. Whether it's learning a new skill or improving a process or even refining a project, celebrating these milestones reinforces the idea that growth is a journey. All right, now I know that all this sounds good, but let's talk about how we actually get there. What are some actual steps to implement a growth mindset culture? Now, integrating a growth mindset culture really requires thoughtful, consistent, intentional action. Let me walk you through a few steps to help it make it more sustained and not just a month-by-month activity that we want to do. First thing is you have to hold regular reflection sessions. Encourage your team to reflect on recent challenges and successes and what they learned from both. What they learned from both is the most important piece. These sessions are going to cultivate and foster self-awareness and build an openness to growth. Second thing we have to do is set growth-oriented goals Define the team and the individual goals that emphasize skill development and long-term improvement, rather than just achieving short-term results. We also have to focus on encouraging peer recognition. Foster a culture where team members recognizing each other's efforts and improvements and make it easy for them to do that. This not only strengthens the team, but it also the bond within the team and reinforces the idea that effort and perseverance are valued across the board. Now, you may be thinking, okay, I get it, but how's this actually going to transform anything? So we'll dive into a little bit about how growth mindset can transform your team. So teams that embrace this growth mindset are resilient, adaptable, and super highly collaborative. These teams are better equipped to handle challenges, learn from setbacks, and really strive for improvement, all of which contribute to higher morale, higher engagement, and most importantly, lower turnover. A growth mindset unlocks innovation and creativity. And, as a team, the team members are more willing to explore new ideas without fear of failure because they know they're going to grow and learn from that. In my experiences, mindset shift often leads to greater employee satisfaction as people feel genuinely supported and motivated to contribute their best. It's not just about being perfect. It's about doing their best. When leaders foster this growth-oriented environment, they create a culture of mutual respect and continuous development because we're all learning and growing. And ultimately, what that does is it leads to higher performance and a more cohesive team. Remember, the power is in who we get to do the work with, not just the work we get to do. But this change doesn't happen overnight. But with persistence and commitment, the impact of a growth mindset will ripple throughout an organization. So if you know you need to be doing this and you're ready, reflect on your own engagement, your own group, and encourage practices as a leader and consider how you're currently encouraging a growth mindset within your team. Are there areas where you could focus more on resilience and effort or offer a safer space for risk-taking and learning? It starts with you. Reflect on one action you can take today to foster a more resilient, adaptable culture, whether it's recognizing their efforts, creating a safe space for learning, or modeling growth-oriented behavior yourself. A growth mindset, it's not just a tool for your own individual development. It is, but it's more than that. It's a powerful framework for building resilient, high-performing teams that drive organizational success. And by embracing and fostering this mindset, we pave the way for a culture that thrives on challenges and celebrates effort and values learning as the ultimate goal. So if this speaks to you and you find yourself being very interested in exploring more about a growth mindset and how it can elevate your leadership and your team's performance, I'm here to help. I'd love to help. Through my executive coaching and my leadership workshops, I work with leaders to cultivate resilience and adaptive cultures. And so we can work together to build a team that views every challenge as a step toward success. And as your team faces challenges, their mindset will always show up. And remember, the things that we think about are the things that we feel, which lead to the choices that we're making. So if you're trying to change behaviors right now, really stop and think about a growth mindset and start changing the thoughts. Because if we change the way people think, we can't help but change the way they behave. So as a leader, again, this starts with you. Do some work on your own mindset. And that's typically where I start with leaders. I don't just go in and assess a culture. I go in and actually talk to the leaders. And I have some key questions that I ask them to really identify their mindset. Because as their mindset goes, the team will follow. So I hope you hit the subscribe button if you haven't yet so that you get episodes every Monday, every Mindset Monday. And remember, I'll remind you like I do on every episode, you always have the power and the choice to reshape your mindset, live with intention, and look at the world through a grateful lens. Till the next episode, never stop.